My name's Lesley Hetherington. I'm Director of Enterprise and Entrepreneurship Skills at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. And today you've asked me to talk a little bit about entrepreneurial personality. And there has been, and there still is, to some extent, a real quest around entrepreneurial education and entrepreneurial education research to identify what is the entrepreneurial personality. To some extent with an intention to therefore, if you could identify it, you could mimic it, and maybe you could more actively develop entrepreneurial personality in students. But I have a question for you. Does entrepreneurial personality as such really exist? It's very easy to follow the imagery that says if somebody is confident, they're outgoing, they're extrovert, and they jump in with both feet to make things happen, this makes for an entrepreneurial personality, and in some way, somebody with that profile is more likely to be successful in their venture, or even if they're not successful in the first time, they're more likely to jump in, recover, fail a few times, but eventually come to be successful. But I'm not so sure about that. I would like to suggest it's not so much entrepreneurial personality, but there are issues of personal orientation which, if you have them or you develop them, are more likely to support you in being successful as an entrepreneur. The issues I would suggest we look for, therefore, are your motivation and is it sustainable? So that would be questions like, do you want to make a difference in the world? And if so, what difference do you want to make? Is there some legacy? Is there something you would like to leave behind you or be remembered for? And is there a specific legacy? And when you start to spot people or they uncover an answer to that question, what specific difference would you like to make? Actually, that is the starting embers of saying this person is developing an entrepreneurial orientation, which may well lead to success. Of course, attitude makes a difference. Somebody who is always looking for the negatives and what can't be done is going to drown themselves in their own reasons why not. And even if they get started, probably like to stop themselves. So, of course, someone who sees opportunities, but maybe more importantly, somebody who, when faced with something that's important that they really want to make happen, doesn't ask, can I do it? But is willing, either on their own or with support and encouragement, to go, okay, how can I make this happen? And how many different ways can I make this happen? And what if this was possible? What would I do? What if I had support? What would I do? And I think you can probably see that these are questions, but they're questions that you could ask somebody no matter what their natural personality was. And then the last element in terms of personal orientation would be the issue of stamina and being able to keep going through the tough times, being able to pick yourself up. And this links to something I've talked about before, and that's the idea of knowing your key signature strengths, understanding them, being able to use them in different contexts and situations, and therefore being able to go into this state that Csikszentmihalyi describes as flow, where you're so engaged with what you're doing that not only do you tend to lose track of time when you're doing it, and therefore keep on going, but when you come away from it, you're likely to be energized and buzzing rather than exhausted by the effort that you've put in. If you can use this in the endeavor of creating whatever legacy, whatever entrepreneurial business or social enterprise that you're passionate about, your chances of keeping going through the tough times, leading other people through the tough times, and inspiring those around you is instantly much higher. I have a personal belief. I believe that everybody here has entrepreneurial potential. I think children have it in abundance. Any of you who observe a small child who wants something like an ice cream is seeing entrepreneurial personality in action. They have persistence. They learn. They learn 20 ways not to get an ice cream. They learn 100 ways not to get an ice cream. But on the 101st, the chances are they have breakthrough. They are pretty resilient towards failure and rejection. And they're very inclined to innovation and experimentation. So I would say that the key question here is more, how can one uncover or recover an individual's personal orientation for entrepreneurship, for entrepreneurial endeavour, for making a difference, for creating value to other people. And then, having uncovered that natural orientation, how can we develop the skills, the behaviours and the competencies that are actually going to help somebody to take it to the next step, make it real, make it sustainable, and attract the collaboration, the resources, the team that they will need in order to really succeed. Key aspects in terms of what the person would need to do, I'd be to answer the questions, what is it that I should be starting? Now, some of that is as much about knowing also what to reject, not being attracted to anything that might be an opportunity, but being able to answer the question, is this an opportunity that is in some way right for me? How to keep going and be engaged, which I've already discussed. And then finally, and maybe actually this is the thing that is in some ways hardest, knowing when to stop, knowing when it's time to get out and pass the reins over to somebody else. So basically, therefore, in conclusion, I would say that the real issue here is finding your personal orientation to enterprise, to entrepreneurship, to making a difference. And in order to do that, the thing I would recommend is take the time to explore. Take the time to learn how to reflect. One of the most powerful tools in terms of developing entrepreneurial capacity and entrepreneurial resilience is to learn how to do reflective feedback. The academic literature on this covers things like double loop learning. So how to learn not just was it a success or not, but actually what would you do differently next time, what would really make a difference. But to be able to apply this to yourself and use that thing called the feedback sandwich, which starts with the idea of spotting that something that's good. Then the sandwich layer is the developmental feedback, the thing that would make it even better, or the thing that's not yet in place. And the last bit being a reaffirmation of what's good. Learn to do feedback sandwiches for yourself. Learn to spot what you're doing right and sort of put your own success into your life as something that you believe in is credible. Tell people about your successes. Don't be afraid to reflect and go, okay, I did that well, but I could do it even better. But articulate what even better would look like. And assuming that you are being true to yourself and it's your vision and your strengths you're playing to, just reminded to tell yourself you've done really well and give yourself a metaphorical pat on the back. Keep going. Good luck.